Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. The universal handle for the socials is at Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. So, welcome. We've got a little bit of Boeheim's Army news that broke today. We've got some NBA draft news, and the new Syracuse football uniforms were revealed. I don't know if anybody realized that or not. That buzz only lasted for about 3 days, 2.5 days, right, Joe?
Yeah, all over the interweb.
All over the interwebs, and it was one of the most voted on polls that we ever put out, which is crazy. So, I mean, it's just some uniforms. I'm glad I did it, though, now that we know.
Right.
So, anyway, before we get into all that stuff, first we got to talk about the good folks over at SeatGeek. If you don't already know, this deal, this is an app, put it on your phone, and if you're deciding to go to a concert, a sporting event, a Broadway show, I mean, you name it, you input this into the app, and it's going to scan the entire web for you to try to find you the best deal on the tickets that you're looking for. First of all, it does rate them 0 to 10, but that's not all it does. Just to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck, it lets you know by color coordination if you have a great deal. A green dot, that's a great deal. Yellow dot, that's an okay deal. And the red dot, not so good. So use promo code ACAA at checkout to receive $20 off your first purchase. That's, a beer, a hot dog, or whatever. And you can save that $20 again by using the promo code ACAA to get to $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, life's an event, and we have the tickets. So, all right. So, before we get into this, the reviews. Thank you. The reviews have rolled in. I think we're going to do one today. I'll try to remember. I just sent some stuff out to the last guy there, and we appreciate that. It really helps us out on iTunes to get those reviews in as far as getting noticed on iTunes by someone searching for Syracuse Sports Podcast, and we're up there. We're probably the most rated. Last I checked, we were the most rated and reviewed Syracuse Sports Podcast, including all the big names too. So thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you who take the time to do that. So there's that, and then we're going to do something a little bit different. Listen, this show is for Syracuse sports only. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what kind of beer I'm drinking. I'm not going to tell you about the Netflix movie I watched or, all this stuff during this show. But Joe kills it. And if you've listened, you know this. Joe kills it in fantasy football, for instance, okay? So we thought of something that we wanted to do. And we're just going to call it overtime. And after the show closes, after the music, and we sign off, we will let you know if there's going to be an overtime at the beginning of the show. You can stay tuned. You can, and if you don't want to listen to it, you just shut it off. But if you want to stay tuned for some of that extra stuff, we'll let you know when it's happening. It'll be at the end of the show, so it's not going to interfere with any of our Syracuse sports news or anything like that. So a little something different. I mean, some podcasts pay for this, or make you pay for this stuff via like Patreon and stuff like that. We ain't trying to do that. So, and it's not going to be all the time. It'll be once in a while. Joe's going to give us, I'm going to be a student, as I am a student here sometimes, but I'm really going to be a student because I suck at fantasy football. And I really need some help. Joe tried his best to help me last year with the team I already drafted, but it's tough after the team's drafted, right, Joe?
Yes. I caught that conversation a little bit too late.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna do that. The Cuse Militia overtime. So some scary
and when
news.
it's not going to be just fantasy football stuff. That's just some one topic going up, leading up. Once the draft goes on, it's kind of tough to talk about fantasy football and give tips and stuff like that. But just anything in the news, there's some times where there's something out there that's and it's not sports, Syracuse sports related that still could be an interesting thing to talk about. So
whether it be sports really or whatever. One thing I will guarantee you, it won't be.
And that is politics.
And that's politics. We don't play that game here. You come here for sports and some banter. We're not getting involved in all that.
No.
So, with that said, yeah, well, maybe we will talk about Netflix movies sometime. But I mean, really,
That's you.
Yeah, that's me. It is me. I got a good one too. I just watched. It's great with Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler. But I digress.
Oh, I watched that last night.
Oh, you watched it? It was good, right?
Watched it last night. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Okay. We said we weren't going to do this, but here we are.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Let's go on to the next.
All right. So a scary moment for Trish. He's going to be okay. He had a leg injury overseas playing in Italy, and he actually had to sit out. His team ended up getting swept. But the plan for him is that he's still going to play for Boeheim's Army. So I guess it was a bone chip or something, Joe. And,
yeah, that or a deep bone bruise, one of the two, but enough to keep him out.
Yeah, enough to keep him out for his tournament there overseas. And unfortunately, I mean, that stuff happens. Hopefully he is going to be healthy enough to play for Boeheim's Army, and that's good news. So.
Yeah,
we wish him.
Well, he's going to take his time. Yeah, it's too bad for him because he was the league MVP, and then when they were in the league semifinals, I believe, or something like that. So, it's definitely going to hurt for him. But
absolutely, that sucks. That sucks because he was killing it.
He'll have a little bit of time, and hopefully he'll be good.
Yeah, and if you did follow the link that I shared on Facebook and Twitter, I voted. Joe voted. We all voted for Boeheim's Army to add another player without having to pay any of the penalty. And we met that threshold. So thanks to everybody who's listening that voted. And so the rumor mill is Andrew White, which is one Inside the Loud House has reported on. And Malachi Richardson even got the okay.
Yeah, this is the first day I saw him, or first time I saw his name get mentioned was a Syracuse.com article. So. And
Demetrius Nichols, he played last year. He did pretty good. And so those are the names in the rumor mill right now, and we'll just have to see what they end up doing. I'm sure it's probably all but a done deal. I just haven't announced it yet. Watch it happen right after this show, too. So that's all. How many times has that happened, Joe?
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, my gosh. You're like, are you serious? So, anyway, the something called the NBA, they have a draft every year. Some basketball players go to it. I don't know. What's the NBA? I don't know. I have no idea. But there was news about it. And that news was, first of all, Darius Baisley took a very unorthodox path towards moving to the NBA. We were critics of it. I think I was mainly a critic of it, Joe, because I think this is a great path. I'm actually all for this. There's the one thing, though, that I didn't like, and that was the decommit. And, fans are like that. We're like that. Like, man, we were high on him, but the decommit, I think it's a good path for kids. I think it's open. I think he is the pioneer of this, really, and he's opened up a lot of doors. And I think that you will probably have less of these decommit type situations because they see how successful it could be. A $14 million contract with Adidas last season, right? And
no,
what?
No, what it was
it was $1 million guaranteed.
It was $1 million guaranteed from New Balance. It was essentially called an internship, and New Balance really isn't known for their basketball sneakers, so maybe they're trying to break into that, and they took a chance on a kid to possibly be their face of their possible and new sports apparel. Something they probably haven't delved into too much. So if he ends up being good, then that's good for them. So they kind of just took a risk. And that's one of the things I was going to say is that this path right here, there has been kids that have gone from high school and gone and played like a season overseas and then entered the draft. And they get paid playing overseas. But obviously some kids, 18 years old, don't want to go to a foreign country and play, professional basketball against grown men. Sometimes that's tough. And in this situation, he wanted to play in the G League, and he found out real quick that I don't think that he was ready, and he sat out and really didn't even play. Now, again, in this instance, it hurt him, but again, as well, I think him earning $1 million and getting that guaranteed cash, sitting out for a year, probably
Where'd I get
made
the $14 million from. Where'd I get?
Well, I think there's like a possibility. I think it's like a possibility to be more.
Oh, okay,
but. I think it's one of those things where if he got undrafted, then he probably wouldn't get any more. He'd just get them,
Oh,
so
true.
I feel like it was almost like a down payment from New Balance in hopes that he's going to end up being good. So
right. Well, I think he will. Right. I mean, drafted 23rd by the Thunder.
Nothing's guaranteed in the NBA, man. There's not a lot of superstars.
No. Yeah. Well, good on him. First round, 23rd.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to hate on him. Obviously, I mean, I didn't think it was going to end up this well, and for this instance, yeah, it didn't hurt. But again, I go along the side of just the college is basically the best stage to be seen at that age, and he wasn't seen, but obviously he did show that if he comes in shape and plays good at the combine, then you can still get drafted off potential. So
yeah, and he's going to be Jeremy Grant on the team, right? Pretty sure. Yeah. So anyway, that's good on him, man. You know, look, I think that's a good path. I think it's probably, something maybe. I mean, well,
if you can make $1 million and sit out,
if you can make $1 million, then
of course that's a good path.
Yeah, absolutely, right.
I don't think every kid's going to be able to do that, though. But hey, you never know.
No, well, I didn't think he was going to be able to do it, so he proved me wrong, and kudos to him on that. So Brissett.
Yep.
Brissett, he's going to participate in the Clippers NBA Summer League in Vegas. Mm-hmm. That's going to start in just about, just under 2 weeks here, July 5th.
Yes.
So he that's not a contractual thing, correct, Joe? That's not he's not getting paid for the Summer League. I don't think you get paid for Summer League, bro.
I mean, I think they could be, but I think it's essentially just a tryout. Yeah.
Right. So, in both, obviously, this is the first time in like 18 years or something like that, or 20 years, where we went back-to-back years and not having a Syracuse player get drafted in the first round. Tyus as well is.
I think it was not get drafted at all, I believe.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No one got drafted last year or this year, so. Yeah,
so Tyus. He did sign as an undrafted free agent with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he's got what's called an Exhibit 10 contract. And I read like all of the exact wording of what this is, and it's really confusing. And so Seth Goldberg he tweeted out something that basically says it's a variation of a two-way contract, and what it does is it basically allows the Timberwolves to have the rights to him if he goes down to the G League. They can bring him up and put him down, and it's incentive for him because there's a minimum. I think it's a minimum of $5,000 and a maximum of $50,000 in this contract, and it allows him to move up and down, wherever his potential seats him, and it's an incentive for him because he's getting paid to stay in the NBA as opposed to going overseas.
Right.
So that's basically what that is, and we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a weird contract. I mean, it's like I think it says in there they retain his rights, like the rights.
Right.
So,
maybe they're already signed him for the G League team, and no matter what happens in the summer camp,
Yeah. So anyway, that's it for those guys, and maybe you look back and you say maybe Brissett did shine a little bit in the combine. He did really good. He played well. He impressed a lot of people. But at the end of the day, even before the draft, he wasn't up on first round in the draft boards. And he also was critiqued fairly not really negatively. He did good. He impressed. But they put together everything. His play at Syracuse his last year, and then the combine stuff, and where they think his potential leads and how he fits into teams, obviously. So maybe for Brissett, he might have, would have, should have, maybe know what he knows now. Maybe he'd have waited another year. Who knows? I don't know. Tyus, though, this is his path. He had nothing left to do at SU. He's graduated. I think probably the right choice for him. Brissett is still up in the air. We'll just have to see. He's still trying out. So that's where he's
still got a shot, So, and team's definitely impressed. And if you can latch onto the Clippers, that's a pretty good organization right now. They made the playoffs, and a lot of people are saying that Kawhi Leonard, who was the Finals MVP this year from Toronto, who opted out of his contract and is becoming a free agent, could possibly be signing there. So they could be a force to be reckoned with. So if he can latch onto that team, then he'd be on a pretty good team. So I'm cheering for him.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him too, obviously. So, there's been a ton of recruiting news over the past few days, and this is not something we're going to
It's overwhelming.
It's not something we're going to be able to cover in one episode. And it just, sometimes we go through the offseason like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? It has been nonstop this year. It just hasn't stopped. And right when we're thinking, we'll play in a 2-part recruiting 2020 recruit episode. We'll do 2 parts, and then a bunch of, who knows, it'll be in the middle of Boeheim's army or something. So, we're just gonna have to put it together and give it to you in little bits at a time. But something fun did happen. Something fun, real fun happened, and that was the unveiling of the uniforms for Syracuse football, and they got rid of those awful numbers. That was the worst. The numbers in like the collaboration of like the gray and the stripes all over it and everything. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Really bad. I mean, at the end of the day, I didn't care that much about the uniform, but the new ones, when you stack them up against what was unveiled Friday night, I mean, you got to look at that and be like, wow, what a freaking upgrade. Got the classic font back, a little bit of old school feel. I love the orange, all orange with the blue helmet. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
What'd you think, Joe?
Yeah, well, a lot of times it's tough to view because a lot of times new usually means, people kind of latch on to new more than old, so
true.
You never know if someone's really going to like it but I do remember the last uniforms a lot of people were a little negative on, and I like them. They do, like, I saw a lot of the comments on social media and everything like that, and I would agree that they do kind of look like the Cleveland Browns uniforms.
Oh, they do not. The Cleveland Browns have brown pants, bro.
Dude, I'm saying like the design.
Okay.
And some of the orange. I mean, you go against the blue and it's just the orange and the white. Like it kind of looks like.
Okay. I mean, all right, yeah, absolutely. It looks like Illinois too.
Yeah.
The blue and the white are the orange and the white do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, there's so many combinations that they can do and stuff. So I just think it's going to be one of those things where I think that there's going to be fans that, they like some combinations and others that like others, and they're probably, like past seasons, going to leave it up to probably captains or a team vote on which ones they wear, like home and away and stuff like that. And some they might have to contractually wear a numerous amount of times. We don't really know that, but. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like what you said. I look at it like I know which team is my team out there, and if the kids like them and the kids are getting to choose the combinations and get some input, because I do believe that some football players had some input in the design.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, as long as they're cool with it and they like it, and recruits, just little things like that sometimes can push a recruit over the edge if they know that they have that type of, freedom. So, I mean, they like them. I like them. But I mean, I do think
the hype around a uniform, though. I mean, I guess everybody's team has that kind of hype around a uniform, but it was really hyped. Like the trailer, the video, and everything. Like it was it was pretty dope, dude.
It was. Yeah, they definitely put in some good work. That was good stuff. So. I would have actually loved to have been there. I heard that it was a good time. My girlfriend's brother, he had a guy he went to high school with that was there, and
turning star.
Actually, I believe it was Mitch on Twitter. Mitch.
Oh, really? The barber from New York City?
I don't think.
I think he's from.
I have no idea, but.
Well, there's a couple of Mitches, but there's one I know more because he tweets more. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But either way, there was some guys out there. So that I knew that they had a great time. Thought it was awesome. I believe they played the video and then had the guys come out live and wear the uniforms and stuff. So
yeah, I saw the pictures. It's pretty cool. So we did the poll on it, and then I'm gonna do some impromptu comments. Okay, did the poll on it on Twitter. 548 votes. 80% love them. 5% said they stink, and and 15% are undecided. So you got more undecided than you are haters of it.
Yep.
At J Evans BCBNJ, he says, I like them, but they could have done without the numbers on the shoulders. With that and the stripes, seems like too much. But overall, they did a great job. So a little critique, but he likes them, I guess.
Yeah.
The Big E _ 228, massive improvement. Let's see here. At Syracuse 44, this is clever. It's at SYRAQSE 44.
Okay.
I said the new uniforms are so much better than the current ones with those stupid numbers. Yes, those numbers suck. They're terrible. They look like a reflection in water or like a shadow. You know how they're real like tall and everything. They're like so dumb, so dumb. Seriously. At Orange Cop 44, at the time he said, currently 8% of you are morons. It must have been the haters. So at Bills 1998, they look much like the Browns, that's Joe's comment. So, I can see it a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and deny it, I guess. But we also went on Facebook with it. And Facebook, 140 votes. Not too bad, I guess. 140 votes. But 93% said they loved them. And 7% said they were a pile of poop with my poop emoji.
Nice.
So yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of fans that just like the old school kind of just solid colors,
I'll tell you what. You know what I like? You want to really know what I like? And this is
probably move with the times.
This could be tacky, but I don't know. I think it's cool. The orange jersey with the orange pants and the orange cleats and an orange helmet. Is that too much?
All orange?
All orange, dude. Just orange it out. Just orange.
Orange out, yeah.
That's what I do in college football 2014 on PS3, by the way. All my home games are solid orange. And that's how I think it should be. That's how I think it should be. So, did you want to did you want to mention anything else real quick? We got a little bit of time if you did want to. Anything on the recruiting front? We had a lot of recruits visit. We had a 4-star coming in to visit. And
well, with as far as the recruiting goes, again, we're not going to be able to hit up everything right here in this episode. Of course, we'll have a recruiting episode, but
we're just going to have to do a tiny bit of overtime, I think, Joe.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough because, again, signing. There's an early signing period now, so a lot of times people just think, end of June, July, season hasn't started yet. Who cares about recruiting? Come December.
And they're 2020s. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, some people don't. They're like, they won't even play till next year. But this recruiting class is important, and they can sign once the season starts. By the time the season's over, and hopefully, cross my fingers, knock on wood, we're waiting for a bowl game. We have an early signing period where these kids can sign before the actual signing period in the first week of February. So as much as people want to make it seem like it's so far away and these kids aren't even going to be playing until next year, they only have 6 to 7, 8 months here to make their decision and actually play their high school season as well too. So recruiting right now is important, even though it's just not always on the forefront of people's minds. So, and we had 7 recruits in the last week since we, had these camps the last couple of weeks and boosted our commits up from 3 to 10. And, some exciting players. I know we had a guy from Florida that was
here we say
teammate
we're going to talk about it. Here you are.
Teammate from Cornelius Nunn last year, and then we also got a punter that stole right from Athens, Georgia, which was right in Georgia's backyard. And we posted that or shared that website or that article from Inside the Loud House that Paul wrote. And according to the kicking recruits in the kicking classes or whatever, he's a 5-star and he was the number 5 punter. So
they recruit they rate other positions too. It's just I guess they branch out. So we'll get the info on that. But what they do is they don't rate anybody that they haven't seen in person, and they don't get to see everybody. They get to choose who they see. So it's elite. It really is.
Right.
So for everybody that was poo-pooing the 5-star punter, I mean, think twice for real, because as Joe, you and I talked about a lot last year, special teams was huge for us last year.
Yeah.
And
our special teams has been huge. Think about the punters that we've been putting through. Think about the field goal kickers we've been putting through.
All right.
So that's important. But usually a lot of times when you look at, the recruiting classes, and you're going to look at like ESPN's recruiting class or 247 Sports recruiting class, they're not going to give you kudos for like a punter or, even like the guy, I can't even think of it, our long snapper, Matt Keller, for the past 4 years. He was in the Under Armour All-American game. So that means he was one of the best long snappers, but because it's not looked at as, long snappers don't score touchdowns, they don't throw touchdowns, they don't, so they don't, but it's an important position. And no one really looked at that guy as being a great pickup, but you look at having a long snapper like that for the past couple of years. Sterling Hoffrichter was a similar type of recruit for the guy that we just signed there. And then you look at Andre Schmidt coming in and winning the Lou Groza Award, and the fact that I used to fear. This wasn't so long ago. I used to fear, kicking punts and kickoffs to other teams, especially, and most recently, Jamison Crowder from Duke a couple years back, he blew that whole game open with that punt return, and it was just, I was so nervous about just giving up them special teams play or something like that. And our special teams has just been so much better and grown exponentially under Dino Babers. So getting a guy like this is just going to continue, because you got to remember Sterling Hoffrichter, our only punter on our team, is a senior. So.
Right. Yeah. And
so
by the way,
don't poo-poo the punter.
Don't poo-poo the punter. His name's James Williams, by the way. And he was the Coles kicking rating is what he was rated by. It's 5 stars. Right. He's the number 5 punter in this cycle and the number 12 kicker. So he can do both. And he's in line to join the Orange, but we do have, we can still have the Hoffrichter. But here's the thing. Well, by the time he comes in, right,
he'll be gone.
Yeah. So by the time he comes in, he's going to take his spot. So one interesting thing, though, about James Williams, he was quoted as saying, "I choose Syracuse because its football program is on the rise with Dino Babers leading the team." How is that for a direct quote? Why you want to join the Orange? Hello.
Yeah. As a punter, you can go anywhere, and
Yeah, absolutely. So
realistically, if you're a punter, you want to punt a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Going to a bad team or a team that can't move the ball, you're going to be punting a lot. So, he wants to win, and he comes from. Again, he's from Athens, Georgia, which is exactly where Georgia plays, and there's still time where obviously he could, it's just a verbal commit. But
by the way, the disclosure on the commits is. None of them are going to be official until they sign a national letter of intent. And there's 2 ways that they can do it. The early signing period or the national signing day. And the early signing period is December 18th through 20th, and the national signing day is February 5th. So
and it's crucial for us, and that's why I talk. And I know a lot of times you're like, "Oh, it's 2020," and some people are just it's the middle of the summer, but that early signing period is crucial for us. That's why recruiting is just so big for us early, because I can't tell you how many times some of our best recruits have gotten flipped and gone to other schools in between that time. If we had a early signing period and they signed, like between that December 18th to 20th to February. Like between those months or those days, we've had so many guys get flipped, and we've lost some good guys. So that early signing period really, really helps us out.
Yeah. So, all right, Joe. That it?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. We can explain more about that punter stuff. We're not that good at it, though. So if you want to, you can still go ahead and look at that Inside the Loud House.
Yeah. Go to our Facebook, our Twitter, and we posted it at. It was from Paul over at Inside the Loud House. Breaks it down, and this is why I like Inside the Loud House. Before we started collaborating with them, they will quote people. They'll give you the sources. They'll give you their opinion, and then they'll give you they'll let you know exactly what is Cole's kicking. They let you know, And it's short and sweet, and everything's short and sweet and to the point. So, all right, well, I think that's going to do it. I want to thank all of you for listening. I want to thank you if you're sharing it with your friends. I appreciate that. For the reviews, we appreciate that. Keep those coming. Yes. We'll pick one of those in the next episode. And I want to thank Armchair All-American, SeatGeek, MyBookie, and James on Guitar. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Hey.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.